Thank you. They are truths you carry, whispered since childhood. Since this is going to be recorded, do we need to say it over and over again? Do you want me to
We
do
don't
it?
have to say it over and over again, but when you record it, how are you going to know how to inflect? You know?
I'm happy to do it. I just want to make sure that
Well, I wouldn't even be questioning it since your voice is a little shredded.
Yeah,
and
so
it's a block. So
Oh yeah, let's keep it for today though.
yeah, and let's just start with Cora.
Thank you.
Mommy.
Okay, I am going to be giving direction. I'm just letting you know, okay? Because when you did this last time, I think there's a lot of potential in this scene, especially with the dynamic between you two friends already. So I'm very excited. Okay.
Mother, I cannot sleep. I can hear the flowers growing.
Of course, darling. When you are in tune with the earth, you can hear all the plants waking to sing their praises to Apollo.
Apollo is not here right now. Do you see Apollo anywhere? Oh, it is 4 in the morning. Apollo is not here. Do you see Apollo anywhere? He is not due for another 2 hours at least.
All right, one sec. So, there's a lot of, I think we do a lot of movement in this part, okay? Really like play up like, you are having fun. You wake up like this every morning, right? You're not actually upset. So what if you were like, let me see your arm. Okay. Oh, it's 4 in the morning.
The pouty wheeler.
Apollo's not even here. Do you see Apollo anywhere? Put it back down. He's not due to arrive for at least 2 more hours. Why can't the flowers let a little bit longer? Right? Okay. Also, I think that you should be checked out to her, right? You're like, of course, darling. Huh? Because you're just in.
Perfect. Okay. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what brought you to Washington initially.
Hi, I'm Lady Belladonna LeBeau. I'm the Archpriestess of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
So my name is Dusty Dione. I'm originally from Kent, Ohio.
My name is Namir Laveau. I am a second degree of the ATC Wise tradition. My teachers are Belladonna and Dusty. But I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really nice that everybody keeps moving closer to me.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you don't have to go pilgrim
Yeah, no,
everywhere.
we're all coming here.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Tasha Zabrowen. I'm actually originally from St. Louis, Missouri. And my spouse's work actually brought us out here to Washington, and I will never go back. It's so beautiful here. My family is still out in St. Louis, and I keep trying to lure them out here because it's so beautiful. And the sea-
I'm an original Georgia Peach. That's where I was born and raised. And I am out here because when they promoted me to Archpriestess of the church, this is where you live.
I was raised in a very pagan and progressive world. I found paganism when I was 5. I'm born to 2 ex-Catholic current Lutherans. And when I was 21, I met the love of my life at a festival in Southern Ohio and moved my whole life to Georgia and lived there for 10 years in absolute premarital bliss. And then in 2005, 1 year after I met my wife, she said, "You've got to come to this festival I went to." And she brought me to Spring Mysteries Festival. And by the time it was over, I told her we had to move. She said, "I can't, I have children that are in school." And I said, "They won't always be in school." And now we're here.
But I found the Greek gods when I was in the 6th grade, and I was a solitary practitioner for many, many years. And in my 20s, I, through fate and magic, found the ATC, and then their whole world opened up to me, and I was like, wait a second, you have a festival that's dedicated to my gods, to my Greek gods. And as a Pisces, I was like, that's the drug I want. So here we are 8 years later. I've been to, I think this is my 7th, or this might be my 7th Mysteries.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And how long have you been practicing the craft?
I was initiated in 1988.
Wow. And where was that? Was that in Atlanta at the time?
Dallas, Texas.
That was in Dallas, Texas. What was the witchcraft, pagan, Wiccan, neo-pagan scene like then?
Well, you had
in
to go
Texas?
to a store. Like, we didn't have the internet back
Yeah.
then. So the stores were community hubs. There were witches that had little witch stores.
Yes.
Inside them. And a guy moved in to a store like right down the street from me, and I just happened to run into him. And actually, there's a whole story about it. I just wasn't prepared to tell it. Okay. I did a spell to meet a wizard. I didn't really do it. I read it in Jarena Derwich's Candlelight Spells.
Yo, yes.
So you know that to meet a wizard spell?
Yes.
So I read it, and then the next day I'm going down to the shopping center that's right next door to my house.
Yeah.
Board, and I'm in this place called Renaissance and Romance, and I'm playing on these like new age musical instruments, and this guy walks in, and he goes, "Oh my God, you're the one. Come with me. I want to show you something." And I looked at the lady, and we knew each other, and she
Yeah.
he just is opening a witch store across the way. Go talk to him. And I went, all right, okay. So I went over there, and he was from England. He had just been to Glastonbury. He told me this ridiculous story that when he was in Glastonbury, he had a vision on the tour that he was going to train a priestess in the United States that was going to take over a great house and do a bunch of stuff for witchcraft. And he said that I was the face that he saw.
That is
and I was like,
so
I'm not
cool.
having sex with you.
Right? No, yeah. That's what I would say too. I'd be like,
This is
first
a
and
great
foremost.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna- but that was not what his objective was, and he trained me in witchcraft. And a year later, he got deported or disappeared. Like,
Right.
He was gone.
As they do.
And,
As they do.
Then when I became archpriestess, I was I went and visited all the affiliate leaders, and Gypsy Ravish is in Salem. And she asked me where I came from, and I told her, and she found Paul because Paul was a merchant. He was in a store, and Gypsy has the old witchcraft logos, white light pentacles.
Yes.
That's Gypsy Ravish.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm familiar with her.
The
Yeah.
store has bought from Gypsy
Yes.
Ravish.
Yes, they
So
have.
she found him, and I called him, and I said, "Paul, guess what? I'm a leader of a great house." And he was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I just have found you because now I know so many people I can find you." And so I sent him my books and all this kind of stuff, and he was like, "Oh my God, I thought I found the goddess. I had left Wicca. I became Hindu because I felt like a failure. Thank you for telling me this is a great gift." And then he died 6 months later.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, he said that he completed his purpose.
That is amazing, and
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that with us.
I've always been very spiritual. I was very saying prayers every night before bed, all that stuff. When I was 5 years old, I met a kid in kindergarten who told me he didn't believe in God, but he believed in angels. And that blew my ever-loving mind. I could not wrap my mind around it, so I was like, I have to be your best friend, and I have to understand this. And so I started hanging out with him, and it turned out his mom was Native American spiritualist, Reverend Little Three Feathers. And so I just started watching. And by the time I was 7, 8, I got invited to my very first ritual, which was we woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I walked with a procession of witches out to the middle of the woods and sang up the sun on Ostara. And I felt the revelry. And I went to church the next weekend, and I said, "Pastor Bruce, I'm pagan. I felt the revelry." And he said, "Are you happy? Are you safe? Go with my blessing." So, I went to Trinity Lutheran in Kent, Ohio.
That's wonderful.
Great, spiritual, wonderful people.
That's fucking wonderful.
I am the luckiest person on the planet, and it is not lost on me.
Yeah.
I was my pastor's first baptism.
Oh,
So
wow.
we had a really close relationship.
Yeah.
The very first month that he was a pastor at Trinity Lutheran, right? So I just grew up with Pastor Bruce and Pastor Betty.
Yeah.
But they were just good people, and his main concern was that I was happy, which I thought was awesome. My church has a trans-inclusive flag out front of it. I say my church. It's not my church. I'm not
Right.
at all Christian. So, but
I know your church of
that.
childhood,
I
your church
respect
of Gene, your church of community from home.
When I was about 12, my mom was like, "Okay, I thought this pagan junk was going to be a phase, and it's obviously not. So I'm going to need you to start going back to church." And I went, "Okay, I'll go to church.
Right.
That's what you want." But I'm very pagan, and I ended up going to Sunday school.
Mm-hmm.
Just like on Thursdays.
Right.
It was so weird. And I was the only kid in my age group, so I was by myself. And one day my teacher was like, "We can talk about anything you want."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, okay." And he had this board game that he made, and I just picked a name. I went, "Okay, who's Job?" And he went, "Oh, that's Job." And I went, "Sweet, let's spend the whole day talking about Job." And by the end of that day, I quit the church fully. I was like, "Okay, now wait a minute."
Yeah.
So what you're telling me they did to this guy, and because God was making a bet with the devil because he was like, "No, screw you, I'm better than you."
Yeah.
I'm pagan.
Yeah.
He went, "Yeah, I didn't think you were going to come back after today." We're still good friends, too. He was like, "Have a good one."
Oh, I love that.
So I started practicing the craft when I was 2 at a camping trip, hugging all the trees. And my mom was like, "Well, okay, but I've always felt connection with nature, with Mother Earth. Before I knew the name of it, I felt her embrace. I felt that I was a part of her living spirit and body. And I found vocabulary along the way of what is witch, what is goddess, what is God, etc. And it just allowed what my spiritual innate understanding of the earth have shape and form and language. So I've been practicing for a long time. I joined formal training in 2018 and have slowly worked through honing my craft and learning how to better use it for a wider community than just myself.
I love that. I'm going to forewarn you, I grin a lot, but that's just because I just love everything about being a witch and witchcraft and everything about it. So when I talk to other witches and they share what brought them to it, it just so many things I'm like, that was me too. But I can't say it because I'm filming and I don't want to like nod, which I'm trying not to do because I'm like, yes, I know. But like, it just brings me so much joy. So like, if you,
it's a resonance we all have.
So just ignore, I'm trying to keep it straight, but like,
attentive.
Yes.
I have been informally practicing the craft since, must have been right before my spouse and I got married, so like 2013-ish. No, it was before that. Like probably about 2012. So I was devoutly Catholic before I became a witch, and I was in college, and I was starting to get to that point where I was starting to question that, whether it was really for me. And my college work study job, I was actually an editor to help students with their papers and help them kind of figure out grammar. And we had a Christian ministry program at the school that I went to, and so one of the Christian ministry students came to me and asked me to help her with her paper. And it was about how good Christians don't celebrate Christmas because it's pagan. And so it had all of these details about how this is about Odin and this is about worshiping nature. And I was like, cool, this religion sounds great.
Right.
How do I sign up? And obviously there's not a whole lot of resources about paganism and witchcraft in Missouri.
No.
So I was kind of left to my own devices and finding books like I read Buckland and all of like the classics.
Right, Ravenwolf, yeah.
Exactly. I don't think I read Ravenwolf. I found Buckland, and gosh, who were my other ones that, Lara Tempest Zakroff is a little bit newer. I found her stuff, and just kind of read everything I could get my hands on and get my eyes on. And then when we moved to Washington, one of the first things I did was like try to find a pagan group.
Yeah.
So, I went to Edge of the Circle and I was like, Robert,
oh yes,
tell me where to
we
go.
love Edge of the Circle, yes.
Exactly, and he sent me to Olateus, Our Lady of the Earth and Sky, which is kind of an eclectic group, and they're designed to help people find their niche in the pagan community. And so through them and through some rituals that HEC did at Olateus events, I found HEC and said, these people kind of seem like my folks. So that set me on my journey with HEC.
How many years have you now been taking part in witchcraft neo-pagan festivals in general first? How long have you been doing those?
I think I started around 2000.
Around 2000.
So 25 years.
So were you more coven, private, and solitary before then, like from the 80s up to that point? You were really kind of...
Yeah, so after I lost contact with Paul, there was no internet.
Yeah.
And so when the internet came out, it was easier to find each other.
Yeah.
It was really difficult to find other witches. They were really
I remember the the message boards in 1994.
Super underground. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of witches in the 80s.
And how long have you now been doing specifically Spring Mysteries, HEKA-TEA Sickle?
My first Spring Mysteries was 2004, so it's been 24 years, 26 years?
Okay.
No, 2004 would be 19 years.
Yes.
19 years. And then, because it's now 25, 26,
So 2005.
11, we can't, neither one of us do math.
No, I mean, I was in special education for math, girl.
21 or 22 years, I think, but I've been producing them. This will be my 13th year producing them.
Okay, that's really cool. Just
I-
clarify in case you're like, I went to Raves too. And I'm like, I'm not Lilith Fair, not Raves, girl.
That's right. So when I was 15, I had moved in with a friend of mine in a tumultuous childhood. So I ended up moving in with a friend, and they were pagan. And their mother co-owned a property in Southern Ohio called Wisteria.
Oh, okay,
And so I became land staff. Like, I got invited to go to PSG and work for the land. And
Oh, that's cool.
I worked in the kitchen, and I helped feed all the volunteers 3 times a day, and I got to go to the festival for free. And so all of a sudden, I'm this 14-year-old, 15-year-old let loose at Pagan Spirit Gathering, and it was awesome. Absolutely fabulous. So 14, 24, 34, 28 years.
Love that.
28 years.
And how many years now have you been doing specifically ATC here, festival, Spring Mysteries, and HEKA-TEA Sickle?
In 2012, we took the reins, but it wasn't until 2013 that we participated.
Okay.
Right, so we helped. We let the people who had run it for all those years do that last year. And,
Right.
And
say goodbye formally. And yeah.
So 2013.
Okay, cool.
13 years.
So I've been doing this is my 7th Mysteries, but I've been a part of the church since 2017. And in 2020 is when I stopped being necessarily just a pilgrim and started joining and helping the behind the scenes. There's so much that goes into this. And so in 2020, we had to flip from being in person within 3 weeks to online. And I have a lot of technical skills and a lot of volunteer heart and spirit.
Yeah.
So that I think I started on the tech team at that point, just helping push buttons behind the scenes, etc. And then in 2021, I was asked to join the priesthood, and I held HEKA-TEA for the first time. I'm now the votary of HEKA-TEA, which means I'm the high priestess of that temple, and I carry her wisdom every year. So there's all these really beautiful layers that I'm so glad you're doing these interviews, because there's so much depth to this tapestry. And it's like the sun hits a thread and you see a little glint here and there.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes into this they're already woven in. This is a tapestry, it's a tale as old as time. And now it's being able to see where we all get to weave in together and continue. It's nothing new that we are doing. We're only just doing it bigger.
Right. I love that.
So my spouse and I attended the Mysteries. Our first Mysteries was supposed to be in 2020.
Oh.
Yeah, we were like, all right, we're going to do it this year, because we've been kind of trying to dip our toes in and hesitating for whatever reason. So we signed up to go in 2020, and we were all ready to go, and we all know what happened that year. So we attended the Mysteries a few years online, and then our first in person would have been in 2022. I can't count numbers.
When it reopened, when everything the year
when
things
the world
reopened.
Yeah, we did our first Mysteries in person, and so that was lovely, because we actually got to meet the people that we were seeing online, and we got to hug them and interact with them. And when we saw the Mysteries in person, we were like, this is incredible. Like, we're theater people, and the production quality blew us away. And so we're like, this is what we want to do. So right after the Mysteries, we were talking with Barry Malinsky about, like, how do we get involved? Because we want to be part of this. And we've been on cast every year since then.
Oh, that's really cool. And what does it mean to you to be a vessel?
So when you're a vessel, you give your body up to the deities to use during Spring Mysteries Festival. So they train 3 years to become vessel. When you go to Spring Mysteries, it's full embodiment. You get to speak to the gods.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, people dressed up, right, in costumes.
Right, that's the outside perception.
And then you go.
Right.
Right. So a vessel, they get out of the gods are using their bodies.
Yeah.
And so that's why we call them a vessel, because they're empty. They're not there anymore.
So so it's like, as we would say, as sometimes it's called drawing down the moon, or if you're in Santeria, Voodoo, the diaspora, being ridden. You're a horse and you're being ridden. You open up, they take over.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Speak.
Only the difference is is that this is a 3,000-year-old mystery festival that is Demeter's festival.
Right.
And like when you draw down the moon, so like I did these mysteries on the East Coast for 10 years.
Yeah.
Before I came out here. I didn't do them in their entirety. I did them for Sabbats around the world.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I've done it. I've drawn down. Yeah, I've done it. And you go, and then you're like, oh, it's different. And there's something about the vessels at Spring Mysteries that I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
And that's why they say it's inevitable.
Yeah.
You can't explain it to people.
Yeah, you just have to go through it.
You really have to go through it to understand.
So then all the vessels that we have in there, they all trained for 3 years before doing what they're doing now. And that's really cool. What is it, on a personal level, as much as you can in terms of words? And like I said, there's only so much you can use for words, right? But in terms of what you can use to try to formulate and get across, what is that experience like for you personally? So when the act of it is actually happening, what does that experience feel like for you?
That's a really good question. So like right now, I'm the vessel of Baubo. So before I became the vessel of Baubo, things started happening that were similar to her mythology in my life. I started seeing a need for me to learn about her because of the things I was going through and because of my work with the mysteries and pursuing the unraveling of the mysteries.
Yeah.
And since I became the vessel, she just comes to me at random times when I need to learn something and tells me things.
Yes.
And then as
Deific downloads, yeah.
Right. And then as we get closer and closer to Spring Mysteries, there are times when you have missing time. There are times in rehearsals where you start like stepping back and just letting the God take over. And then at Spring Mysteries, when we do day 0, the people kind of check out and the gods are there. And we bring the people back in during the event, obviously to nourish the body and stuff like that and burn them out. But then when you devoke after Spring Mysteries is over, it's really like seeing somebody for the first time in 4 months because you realize they've been gone.
Yeah. So for me personally, like when I've experienced when I've either channeled spirits or if I've invoked deity, I would say the experience of deity, kind of, but not exactly similar to when I experienced channeling spirits, which freaked me out. If you ever saw Get Out, this was the depiction that the sunken place is what it's always been like for me, and it was really weird to actually see it on screen. It tripped me the fuck out because I was like, and I like screamed and I yelled at my partner. And I was like, this is how I was trying to describe it to you when I fucking channel spirits. What it's like, where it's like I go down in and like my eyes are like wells looking out, and then whatever I'm channeling has come in, and I'm still present, but
You're back.
But I'm out. Yeah, I'm back. And whereas with invoking deity, like if I invoke HEKA-TEA or if I invoke whoever I'm working with on a rig that I'm invoking, it's more. I would say, yeah, there's kind of, yes, it's definitely kind of a stepping back and I feel them, but I would say there's more of like an interwoven kind of merging happening more than like when I'm channeling, let's say, Mary from New Brunswick is coming in. And what does it mean for you to carry Baubo right now? And what has that journey since, I guess, officially announcing and anointing at Sickle, what has that been like for you from Sickle to now as we're catching up with you for a new festival?
So the gods of Eleusis have, they expect to have a body to occupy every year, which is interesting. It's not like, just working with Artemis. So we, so Baubo has certain mysteries that she's been trying to get through. And so when she comes to you, she brings these messages that she's been trying to tell everybody else.
Right.
And because we have these everybody else's, I can go, this is what I'm understanding. And then they can tell me what they're getting. And it's like putting together a big puzzle.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so instead of being Bella getting to channel Baubo, it is, I am Baubo getting to experience Bella.
Right.
And that's the part that's kind of weird because you're like, you take on that deity's persona, personification sometimes, and it's for the year.
Yeah.
So we say, don't get into new relationships because they're not with you. And
Right.
you go away and it's mentally unsettling. I mean, that deity goes away and you come back. And it's
different,
not,
yeah.
It's
you,
not
but it's
okay.
not you. Yeah.
So that's what it means. It's you let them experience Earth through you for the year.
To be a vessel to me means to be the wisdom keeper for that deity on planet Earth, and to make sure that their message is carried on from generation to generation to generation. Things get watered down. People change a word here and a word there until the entire meaning is lost. So as the wisdom keeper, as the vessel, or the votary for those deities in the temple, we keep the mysteries for everyone else.
So for you, because every witch, the way we experience our witchcraft, our magic, our sparkle, is different. For some people, it's hot and in the hands. Other people, there's kind of a pressure separation. Maybe they'll feel the vibes off. In terms of taking in or invoking, maybe they feel kind of like they're not necessarily being pushed out of the way, but they're like kind of split, like halfway stepping back and integrating. Others feel they're completely subdued. And so what is that experience like when you begin the process of taking in? And this year, Eros is who you are.
Yes.
So, and who were you last year? Who did you carry?
Hephaestus.
Okay.
Hephaestus last
So
year.
what was that like?
So, for me, I feel that there's slight personality changes that happen that resonate the rest of the year. Like the whole year I'm holding that deity, I tend to have my base personality colored, right? It's not losing myself, but there's definitely, like when I've held Apollo, I have a really hard time relating from someone else's position because I'm the sun.
Right.
And so I am projecting my position. I'm not reflecting back anything anyone's given me. So with Hephaestus, I became a little more soft-spoken. The things that I was passionate about, I became more passionate about. I wanted, even though like the things that I'm passionate about aren't really building, but he let me know, he said, well, all my work is done in CAD. He said, we don't work in Forge anymore, we work on a computer.
Right.
And then we built it. And I was like, oh. Right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, all the work I was doing online for the festivals became the work of the festivals.
Yeah. I love that.
Did that answer your question?
Well, kind of. What is that? So when you are, for example, not so much during rehearsal, or, well, I don't want to call it rehearsal, because that's not kind of what it is. It's, in a way it is, but it's not. But we'll say sacred rehearsal. Not sacred rehearsal, but when it's fucking festival time.
Yeah, right.
Like, here's the 5 or 6 days, like, which we're already like, this is like witchy Woodstock. We're already like, oh, fuck. Get all our looks ready, girl. But what, I even have like my portable altar I'm bringing with me. When the festival is, there it is, and you're like, okay, this is my checkout time. Like, here we go. What is that experience like, that moment, when it's not just, you're like, I would say where it's more like you're going from where deity is kind of hanging out on your shoulder and you're like, they're on a backpack, and to full on you're being ridden. Like that's it. Like if it's Santeria Voodoo, you're like, why you're like by your Ogun, like you're gone, you're now this deity, right? This Loa, this Odisha. What is that moment like for you? How does that feel? What is that like?
Physically, it feels like an electricity that starts at your base of it's your Kundalini.
Yeah.
It's the base of your spine, and then that electricity that
Yes.
shoots up. And just like Kundalini, if you're not trained to accept that, it can be maddening. It's
Yeah.
just, the energy ramps up so much, you start glowing, basically.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not going to remember any of it when it's over with. And you shouldn't.
No. Yeah.
You know? There are people that'll come up to you afterwards like, man, what you said to me in Shrine was really powerful. And I'm like, I wasn't in Shrine and I actually don't remember you, right? Because it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's for the gods and for you to talk to each other. So.
That's cool. Okay. What does it mean for you to carry Eros this year?
To carry Eros means I get to be back in the temple with my deity. I'm a 4th degree initiate of Aphrodite. I love Aphrodite. And so to be Eros is to be her best Judy. They are
I love it.
best friends. They might be daughter or son and mother, but they're best friends.
Yeah.
And so it is just, my whole world has been filled with love and beauty and people being so kind, and it's been wonderful. I think people can see it. I don't think they know they see it.
Right. Well, we know how the gods are. They emanate. And when they're on you, like, people feel their glow. What has this journey since being anointed officially at Sickle been like for you to now?
It has been how do I quantify what it has been like since Sickle when working with Eros? There has been a flood of love, to the point that even we do this Yule celebration where you put a gift under the tree and then Santa comes out and blesses all the gifts and then he gives out the gifts randomly to everybody. And I got a heart with an arrow through it that says love, a plaque for my wall. Nobody knew it was in the things when they gave it to except Santa, I guess.
Yeah, synchronicities. Gnostic synchronicity.
Yeah.
I fucking love that, sacred synchronicity.
That's perfect. That's what it's been like, sacred synchronicity.
Yeah, I love that. That's for us. Like, that's the thing that we always talk about. For us, is our most important thing is whenever we have sacred synchronicity, things that we can clock, things that we can be like, oh, there's no fucking way. Gnostic knowledge, things where it's like, I always give the example of HEKA-TEA, where it's like, maybe you don't know, or you do know that dogs are sacred to her, but maybe you don't know the way she communicates is actually, you'll hear dogs, maybe, right? Like, you'll do a spell, and then suddenly you'll hear dogs in your neighborhood, and you're like, oh shit. Maybe you don't know that, right? Or maybe you put it together, but you think it's just between you and her, right? But then you discover, oh no, that is her thing. And then that's confirmed Gnostic knowledge, and that's what gives you the goosebumps, because you're like, this shit it's always that confirmation of like, you have it right. Like, you're not on the wrong path. Like, this shit, it's always there. And every time you maybe feel a overwhelmedness, they're there to kick you and show you in the world through fact and verifiable evidence they're there. So I love that. I love sacred synchronicity.
Those ineffable mysteries.
Yes.
Mysteries that can't be spoken, that you only feel in your soul, that the more you try to speak them, the more it saps the sacred.
Yes.
Because those are for you.
As witches, we all are allowed to invoke.
Mm-hmm.
We're all allowed to channel deity. We are allowed to feel the energy move through us. We are allowed to have it influence our ritual and our communities, etc. As a vessel, I feel all the magic and joy of doing that, but there's a responsibility that comes into it. And I feel it now this year more than ever. You know, I've held beautiful vessel roles in the past. I've mentioned Hestia, I've been the Hierophant, I've held Hera. But as Demeter, every time a new pilgrim registers, I go, oh, it's another baby I'm responsible for. I really feel this spiritual responsibility to pay attention to my intentions, to pay attention to my energy, to pay attention to what I'm weaving into the world, because it's not just me alone in the dark with my candle. I am the candle for this moment, and I can't burn too fast and I can't burn too slow.
Right.
And I have to be. And there's a lot of responsibility in putting all of your shit to the side or dealing with it and just making space for Goddess to come in and do what she needs to do on a bigger scale than you ever do.
What does it mean for you to carry Demeter, and what has that journey since being anointed at Sickle been like for you this year?
Demeter was my first patroness. It was her and Artemis. I found them in a Dolaire's book of Greek mythology in the 5th, 6th grade.
Girl, I had that. I still have it on my shelf.
Me too. My Hermes looks like that. Like, if you open it up, it's perfect. But I really needed mother energy in my life. I needed solid goddess energy, and I was feeling it around me, but when I saw Demeter, I could see Mom, I could see the Great Mother, I could see the earth, and I've always felt her presence right there with me since at that early age. I've gone through time and space, and I've always wanted to have children. Having physical children from my body, I have learned through blood and pain and tears, is never going to be a thing for me. But I do not need to physically create life to create life, to manifest life, to have spiritual children, to have spiritual projects, to have children that are not of my body, even if it's for a moment where I'm giving kindness, or it's a moment where I'm speaking up to protect, or it's a moment where I can encourage and cheer on my magical students and what they're doing. And I did this pilgrimage on our cruise, and we went to Ixchel's temple, and I had this moment with this beautiful goddess, and I was really putting away my dreams of having physical children of my body. And I said, I'm ready to release this thing that's not going to manifest, but I want children not of my body. And I had a really, really just powerful lock-in moment there. And so when my name is called, to step up to hold Demeter at sickle, it was so surreal in the moment. I sort of dissociated at the time, where I was like, okay, pageant smile, and what does this mean? And I go backstage and I hug Bella, my teacher and my spiritual mother, and I go, this is Ixchel's gift. This is the children not of my body. And so being able to step up to hold Demeter, to allow her to hold me, and for me to be her physical hands for a season, it's the greatest thing I've ever done thus far. And I don't know if there's anywhere higher I could do, but I feel reverence, I feel mirth, and
feel mirth and reverence within thee.
Yeah, and just I feel safe in the journey, even though there's times where I'm like, what are hands?
Right.
But I'm making it through because she's done this 1,000 times. She's done this 1,000,000 times. I just need to let go and let goddess.
I love that.
First of all, like it's such an honor to be chosen to be a vessel, especially for the mysteries. And invocation is such an incredible experience. Like, highly recommend it if you've never done it before.
Oh, many times,
yes,
yeah.
It's so glorious. There's something about being able to shed yourself for just a little while and not be you, and just let deity take over and let them do what they're gonna do, you know?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's so wonderful. What does it mean for you to carry Persephone? What has that journey since being anointed this year at Sickle been like for you?
Getting to hold Persephone was incredibly unexpected because
I remember you were surprised.
I was so surprised.
You were like, what?
Yeah. So it's the 40th anniversary. So, and my spouse and I, like, we've only been in this community for like a few years. We're still pretty new, and like Persephone and Hades are such huge roles. So, like, you know, I was backstage, kind of waiting for them to say my name, and like all of these deities were being named, and I was like, okay, all right, okay. And then, like, I just kind of tuned out for when they were announcing Persephone, because I was like, that's not going to be me. And then I heard my name and went, what? What's my name? What's my name? And then, I just kind of like blacked out for a little bit, and it didn't really hit, I think, until like a few days later. My spouse and I still sometimes we'll be driving and we'll just be like, I can't believe we're Hades and Persephone this year. That's kind of wild.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's such a big role, and it's been something that's just been such a blessing to get to experience as well, and to be trusted by this community to hold that big energy is something that I'm truly honored by. Getting to work with Persephone it's been so interesting and so different. Like, I'm going on the journey with her, right?
Yeah.
From Kore to Persephone, so I'm still kind of in this in-between, like, Kore, Persephone, mush. I've spent a lot of time getting in touch with who I was when I was a teenager, right? Because Kore's a maiden, and so I've been spending a lot of time in that energy and touching with my inner child and reminding her that, like, hey, it's okay that you feel awkward, and it's okay that everything feels weird, and you're gonna go through some changes. So, like, in my late 30s, I'm getting to kind of be a teenager again, and really, like, it's not just the bad things and the awkwardness, right? It's also the passion. Like, teenagers are so excited for change.
It's a heart song. I always say it's like an OG heart song, like Crazy on You or Magic Man or Barracuda.
Yeah, it's so intense, and I'm loving every minute of it and riding it out, and I'm excited to see what's ahead as well.
And then lastly, what can we expect from the mysteries as two witches who have never attended before, / what should we hope to experience? And lastly, what can we expect from the mysteries as two witches who have never attended before, and what should we hope to experience? Last question. What can we expect from the mysteries as two witches who have never attended before, / what should we hope to experience? What can we expect from the mysteries as two witches who have never attended before? What should we hope to experience?
Well, there's pageantry, there's parties, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of fun. The Temple of Fortuna is a freaking blast. Like Thursday night, the Temple of Fortuna comes in because the mysteries used to be in Rome. And in Rome, they worship Fortuna, and they do an auction and a talent show and a fashion show. It's just a blast. And then the shrines where you get to talk to the gods. Be prepared. What would you ask these gods for? Which ones do you need to talk to? You know. And then on Wednesday, you'll get to have private audience because day double C.
Right.
You get private audience. And then when you go to the mysteries themselves, it's life-changing. You know, if you die before you die, you don't die when you die.
Right.
That you lose the fear of death. You reincarnate into the same body.
Yeah.
Without dying. It's powerful. It's life-changing.
You're going to experience the gods walking on earth in the greatest pagan pilgrimage in modern era. I don't know how else to tell you.
No.
So never attended?
No, and I'm from here. Been a witch, born a witch, lived my whole life here, never.
You are in a desert. You have been going through the desert your whole life. You're used to the sand. You're used to the discomfort. It is what you're used to in life. You've made the absolute best of it. And all of a sudden, not a mirage, but an actual living oasis of connection and relief is appearing before you, and you can touch it. There is water, there is food, and there is life and community, and you never walk through the desert alone again and not know that there's an oasis always waiting for you. Big metaphor, but as a Mist-Eye, I am so happy that this is your first year. If I could choose a year to be a Mist-Eye, this would be the one. All years are beautiful and sacred, and the journey of the Mist-Eye is so incredible because your eyes never close after this. You never go back to not knowing. This is the first time that you are going to walk in completely blind, and so I get good sleep, drink your water, wear comfortable shoes, wear fun chitons and Greek costume, and like leap in. It has been made for you. It has been here for you all this time. This isn't you coming into a place that you're a stranger. You are a child of Demeter, and she's so happy that you're finally home.
Well, what can I tell you? Because it is an oath-bound experience, so I can't give you a whole lot of details, but I can tell you come with your heart open.
Like, let's say if you were trying to, you knew us and you're trying to convince us to come, how would you present it to get us to buy the tickets in the hotel and come? Put it that way. Maybe that'll make it a little easier to figure out how you would explain it without explaining it.
Totally. Dive into the deep end, baby. It is so, like, there's just so much that happens. There's so many, like, dances and songs and so much cool pageantry and so many people that you can meet and costume. Like, you get to speak with the gods while you were there, and where else can you get to do that? You know, and come with your heart open and be ready for change, because change will happen.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so very much.